Hello, this is Socrates Johnson, MD, and today I'm going to be watching a replay of a game I played on Company of Heroes 1 as a multiplayer 2 versus 2 on the 2v2 map Duclair. And in this particular battle, I did very poorly in the first half, but still managed to patch together a somewhat decent performance. So we're going to be taking a look at this. And thinking about I'll talk about some basic strategies that one uses, and it's also neat because it involves all four of the different factions that one can play as: the Panzer Elite, regular Wehrmacht, the Americans, and the Brits. And British strategy actually winds up sort of dominating how the game unfolds. So anyway, let's start it out. And let's see, get rid of the fog of war, so we can see what the enemy is doing and bump up the speed in the initial minutes. Alright, here I am talking with my teammate. Seems like a pretty outstanding fellow. So my goal was to figure out what to do with this central point and grab it before the enemy did and set up some defenses. And you'll see that I attempt to use a bunker to control this arc and use barbed wire to prevent areas of approach. Right? And since I am the upper base, it's also my responsibility to attempt to attack this point. It's generally more of a wide open area in the north part of the map with these defensive emplacements which dominate the terrain. But since both sides are rather far away from it, you tend to have kind of open ranged combat, lots of mobility. So that's what I was attempting to prep for. So I was going for this point and attempting to kill off the enemy engineers. Since while you're taking a point, you take increased damage. But they kill my engineers. And why that happens is engineer combat is really chaotic and random because their accuracy is so low. Alright, so I kill off the second one, but I know I can't beat an additional group of engineers, so I hightail it out of there. Alright, and I got a Schwimmwagen as well because, well, it takes a long time to get there. So here we can see that I'm building a bunker, I've taken the point, and I'm attempting to break their hold. But the British set up their headquarters here on this munitions point, which means I can't take the point, this one here, and all of their manpower is now going to originate from there. So that's a problem. Alright. Especially for my bunker here. Alright, I built the bunker at 4 minutes, see how long it lasts. Schwimmwagen's up here, trying to find weakened or engineer units to kill. Can't take points. And the thing is, very quickly they set up mortars, which just annihilate bunkers and cause a problem. Because when you have the mortars, they're fairly easy to kill. When they're supported by infantry, it's going to be tough. So I'm in a bit of a pickle here. I'm trying to claim some territory with this machine gun here, but I don't really have much in the way of disposable forces. See, I've attempted to seal off this bunker with barbed wire. Alright. My thought, I take the point, machine gun kills anyone who attempts to stop me. But the mortars, gotta introduce me. And I'm not actually watching this at this point. So they're able to sneak a guy not actually around, but in front of the machine gun and kill my dudes with their bars. Because the US player got very early BARs, that's where he spent his fuel. That's a problem. Schwimmwagen, seeing what's going on, managed to kill a few dudes. And I say to my player that there are lots on my side, and it's true that both US and UK are concentrating on this north part of the map, which means that this bottom side, where my partner Juggernaut concentrating his forces, he should be able to take this territory back fairly easily because there's nobody there. And that'll matter a little bit more later. Alright. So not much is going on right now. Let's speed it up a little bit. Because I really have no disposable forces. Alright, and I'm putting another machine gun a little farther back just to attempt to shore up my defensive line because I know they're coming and the mortaring of the bunker has begun. And my buddy told me that he's going to get armored cars. Seems solid. If the opponents don't get any armored cars, continue the game. But and so I'm setting up these engineers to repair this bunker. I know it's not going to survive, but I'd like to get more use out of it and engineer some machines, and it'll give me control of this point. So hopefully they'll survive the mortar barrage. As we counterattack into the north. Slow it down. So what I'm trying to do here with the Schwimmwagen is, my buddy's infantry are going to attack on a very traditional axis. I'm just going to use the Schwimmwagen to get behind people and shoot them. And fire assistance. It seems to work. As you can see, my buddy has taken all of the remaining south part of the map. In terms of the enemy strategy, the placement of the UK headquarters is actually really good because this position dominates the entire north side of the map, and all we have is this northern part up here. But the fact that they've sort of abdicated from taking the bottom means they're not going to be contesting any of that territory at all. So whether or not it's a good or a bad strategy is not entirely clear. I see they've attempted to sneak by my machine gunner and take our earlier points. Bunker's still holding out after being shelled for 5 minutes. And we're just trying to take some of their resource points early on. I've got an armored car. See, I have ignored the Creek Barracks and gone straight to Sturm Armory because we are behind and they're not going armor. So just going to use this to destroy this British infantry unit because they don't have anything that can hurt the armored car. And my buddy has the same idea, although this... Yeah, I was actually doing a good job of hurting these guys, although they do have sticky bombs. You can tell by the animation that got cancelled. And he's using it to kind of decimate their riflemen. He held on to this for quite some time. I didn't realize that. They're still holding out, almost full health. It's because their mortars are concentrating on other things, like my dudes here, and they died. Or at least need to be retreated. Alright. And so my armored car, I figured I would go and destroy these things. I got a real desire to take this point. The point in the British original base. I don't know why. It was not the best strategic idea, but sent my armored car to destroy these things, thinking they would be there, only to find out they had actual armor. And the Hellcat is not particularly strong, but my armored car is not going to help. It's not going to last in a battle versus it, especially if they're controlling it, they're microing it as much as this guy was. Still, did a lot of damage. Bunker, 12 minutes, still doing strong, killing enemy officers. And there it goes.
We are losing
It
ground.
lasted 8 minutes. So what I've done is I have to attack these emplacements some way, and I don't have heavy infantry, so I went Nebel Warfers just to bombard them. So Nebel Warfers, tremendously powerful, especially if you can get a few of them. But I am not doing so great. I only have the 1 infantry unit and this Nebel Warfer. And basically what I'm going to do with the Nebel Warfer is I'm going to bombard these emplacements here. Because not only do the initial impact of the rockets attack and damage the buildings, but also fire does. Fire damage. And I've got an astute attempting to do the same thing I did with the armored car. Let's see if that works. My lone infantry unit, trying to do something heroic, probably. Actually, my goal was simply to get them within range of the enemy, and then use my firestorm to destroy some of their emplacements. Hopefully both. And in immense good fortune, so much of the U.S. infantry was right underneath. All the riflemen were right underneath the firestorm. I killed 1 unit and decimated another, and got rid of the machine gun emplacement. Not the mortars, but I'll take it. Alright. But you can see at this point that the enemy is in a superior material and strategic position. So, artillery is one way to change the balance, to shift it in our favor. So what I decided to do is take my Stug and attack these machine gun emplacements again. And just keep up the bombardment now with 2. The enemy didn't like that. So they basically sent armor directly into my base to kill the Nebel Warfers, banking that we didn't have any anti-armor that could stop them. And that was right. I had nothing. This dude was well out of position. And Nebel Warfers obviously don't move very fast. I got 1 out of the way. Extreme serendipity, my ally, had anti-armor infantry right there, which took care of that Hellcat post-haste. And you reman the Nebel Warfers and keep the bombardments going. See the scorched earth there. I don't know really what my buddy's trying to do here, attacking these emplacements, but he's doing better than I am. I actually was using my Nebel Warfers to this spot to attack infantry, because if you can get fire on people in a split trench, which is a wonderful defensive emplacement, you can burn them to death real easily. That's what I did. The return of my poor Volks Grenadiers, basically being sacrificed to capture that point. And I was obviously not looking at the time. Survived? No. Yeah. Volks Grenadiers don't have the greatest hit points, being, members of the Volkssturm, old and young reserve soldiers. So Juggernaut here is using a cloaked Kettenkrad as this advanced scout. You're not going to see it. Oh, and they go in to kill my Nebel Warfers once again. And I still don't have anti-armor. They use the spritz shot, Stuart, to kill all the infantry. My Stu is just plugging away. So what I do, fortunately I had an armored car in production, which can beat the Stuart. Or at least damage it. See, it's here. I'm going to try and block its escape route with the armored car. Which simply leads to it going deeper and deeper into the base. You can see here that they found that my Stug is here and are attempting to destroy it with riflemen and sticky bombs. And I noticed about here, like, uh-oh, at least we destroyed the machine gun nest. What I do is, I used the firestorm on this cloud of infantry. Right there. And fortunately, the US player was not paying attention, so he just had all of his units destroyed by the firestorm. Yeah, kills one unit, kills 5 men in the other 2 units. It's great. All the while, Stuart is leading our boys on a merry chase across the right side of the map. But destroying those rifleman units really got me a lot of value and forced the US player to have to rebuild for quite some time. And here I am apologizing to my teammates for not doing my best, which is true. I've been sucking it up all game. Anyway. Battle going on in the center. Hellcat. I'm not sure why my buddy attacks without anti-armor. My Puma runs into harbor immediately in anti-armor and gets the hell out of there. And then I spend some time recrewing my Evil Workers. Speed this up. Panzerly buddy seems to like to attack right into the teeth of defenses. Bad idea. I send my armored car just to contain this penetration because if they get through at this point, we are going to lose our central points and be at a severe materials disadvantage. No one wants that to happen. They're just like rats streaming over the map. But the Panzer Elite do have an ability where you can get 2 Juggernauts at once. Sorry, not Juggernauts, 2 Panthers. My buddy has done. He is sending them on a joyride into the middle of the enemy base to buy us some time. I am recrewing my Devil Warfers for the second time. And he's also attacking their rear fuel points. Well, his Panther just runs the line. So these explosions indicate that the enemy has a howitzer replacement, which is right here. Attempting to counter battery fire my Devil Workers, and got one of them. Somehow the other one survived. Panther still here. Not long for this world. Suicide my Volk's Grenadiers, as always, and attempt to take this point. And they get it. So I can move the hell up. Panther number 2, still alive. Not in the best of shape. And this is the point where it looks like we are definitely going to lose the game. We can't take this point back, we can't take the center point back. My excursion to get the north point was only moderately successful, and all we have on offense is this one Panzer. But here I get my first tank, Panzer IV. I used to take out these engineers here. And now that I'm at the Panzer Command, all I will be building basically is tanks. And attempting to use them in conjunction with my buddy. So what I do with my tank is I don't attack right into the defense because I don't think that's going to help me at all. Panzer IV is not good versus infantry. What I do is I send it on a ride into the British base so that I can use artillery to destroy some of their stuff. I'll let my Panzer Grenadier friends take care of most of those problems. So I see the howitzer, which, if left unchecked, is going to destroy all of our base and all of our troops, and just use the firestorm right on it. The Panzer IV could probably have destroyed it, actually, but might as well take care of that. And it's made them angry, so I attempt to get my troops the hell out of there. So I have Ostwyd here. So I've used this respite to get muster up some forces. At the same time, my buddy makes an attack directly into their base. Perhaps over-penetrates. While my tank's still running for its life, and taking pot shots at the riflemen who are attempting to sneaky bomb it. Leading them not into an ambush necessarily, but into a battle with some Panzer Grenadiers who have been on garrison here. We're taking back our central power points. And the riflemen focus instead on killing the Panzer Grenadiers so I can attack them from the side. And pop off a few of them. One Neville Werfer is still alive, still attacking these positions, all of which have been destroyed now. The British only have one AT gun. And that is the problem with the British, is that you invest so much into your buildings, and when they are destroyed, you have to rebuild from the ground up. And it's just not particularly helpful. Also in the end game, your end game units are not as powerful as the stuff that the Panzer Elite or the British or the Americans have, so you're only useful for a little while. And here my tank falls victim to one of the few British responses against armor, which is this kangaroo carrier, which can carry multiple pieces of infantry, all of which can shoot. The carrier itself can't shoot, but it's surprisingly effective versus armor because you can have 4 Sapertines and Piets, and they will blast holes in all sorts of things. Right. Panther here. If the Panther weren't supported, the Kangaroo could easily have destroyed it. All sorts of trouble. Note that it's my buddy's forces who are doing most of the fighting. I don't have anything except this Ostwyd here, which I'm saving for a rainy day. And building another Panzer IV. Anyway, these forces get decimated by Calliope fire because our enemies now have a Calliope and a Priest. So if we don't do something, they're going to be able to blow up our infantry. My solution was simply not to have any infantry. We got engineers. But he gets 2 more Panthers. And I see these riflemen infringing on our territory. So I attack them. They're really no man's land there. Because the enemy seem to have actually departed from the north, I say, why the hell not? Why the hell not take their victory point? They seem to be oddly passive and willing simply to artillery us, so... They have replicated my build from earlier in the game and set up machine gun squads covering the central point. Anyway, their counterattack versus my engineers here run straight into my Ostwyd. Calliope. All of our armor comes up in one place. Calliopes don't do that much damage to armor, but they shoot so many rockets that it adds up. And there go my engineers. Speaking of engineers, I finally get my chance to take this manpower point in their rear, and I send an engineer unit all the way around the base to do it. So my solution to the machine gun problem is also artillery. I use my Neville Werfers. Instead of armor, because I fear anti-armor at this point. Use my Neville Werfers. Once I've pinpointed the location of the enemy machine guns, to shoot them with rockets. And I see my buddy is using his Panthers here to attack into the enemy territory, and decide to use my Ostmen as support. So really we have battles going on at 3 fronts, which is a very wise thing to do, is to attack the enemy attention span, because you can't look in 3 places at once. So the Panthers, spotting lots of enemy infantry, try to get the hell out. The enemy also uses this plane-based anti-armor attack ability that they have. Really damages all of us, actually. But at least they're concentrating on the Panthers, so I can shoot them repeatedly in the retreat without taking any real losses. At least from the infantry. So, taking this point, get my guys out of there. I guess I use the Panzer, perhaps. Machine gun, that's right in the center. I'm using Knight's Cross because they're practically invincible. While my buddy repairs the Ostmen. So at this point the enemy is sort of under attack from 3 directions. And while he did destroy the Panzers in the north, he expended a lot of manpower and material and did not advance technologically himself. He has no tanks to attack our tanks with. He doesn't have AT, and rifleman squads are pretty weak. Perhaps Rangers would have been a better choice at this point. I don't know. What I did is I used a V1 in the center of their base. Took out an emplacement here. But it didn't actually do that much damage. It didn't catch their infantry, unfortunately. But I think that the enemy emphasis on artillery in the late game with the Priest and the Calliope did not do as effective of a job as the enemy wanted, because we did not go mass mobs with infantry. We switched to tank at that point, and they could have gotten, should have gotten the anti-tank armor to deal with our eminent tank push, but that mattered a lot. And now I'm in their base with 2 Panther 4s, even though it doesn't quite work out perfectly. Do some damage, get the hell out. Preserve your troops. And yeah, it's the end game. They still have riflemen. They get annihilated here by Knight's Cross. They can't compete with our higher class armor. And the Kangaroo, one Kangaroo isn't going to take out all of our armor. It's going to get heavily damaged while it does so. I finally have to retreat my Knight's Cross after they've been battling forever. And we're kind of freely ranging in their base, and they can't take their outlying territories because they're too busy trying to kill our armor. Yeah. And unfortunately I was able to keep both my tanks alive. So while the British formerly controlled all of the map, now they only control the territory directly around their headquarters because of the appalling losses they've had and their inability to kill our armor. They take the manpower point back here, I bring in my engineers and take it right back. So they don't have the forces to be everywhere at once. And so the Panzer Elite, got one of my favorite units in the game, the Berga Tiger, which can take destroyed tanks and turn them into perfectly functioning tanks. Which is actually, I think, the only way you can resurrect the King Tiger in the game. So, That means he's got all these Panthers. I got armor of my own, and they have insufficient means to deal with it. Calliopes are not reliable ways to stop armor, and neither are priests. Mousewind still around, taking away their infantry, although I don't think it's belongs to this world. It gets taken out. But now we're making repeated assaults into their very base itself. And the point disparity is now very much in our favor. Although that assault is very costly and quite stupid. And once we have sort of a sustaining armor economy, that is, when your tank is destroyed, you build new tanks, so you have a constant stream of tanks. That kind of decides the game, because they have to pay so much attention, and so much of their economy is devoted to stopping tanks instead of responding with armor of their own, some kind of offensive capacity. We can see that the turning point was when Juggernaut got those 2 Panthers, and then I got armor that supported that, and the British were left without any offensive capabilities, and the Americans had nothing but riflemen, and so their ability to counteract our mobility and our armor strength really decided the game. Right. Despite the horrific performance I did in the first half, the Germans in general gained strength going on, and in the mid-game, which is sort of where we were when this all ended, that's when we are the biggest challenge to the British and the Americans. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed my account of this game and my analysis thereof, and see you later.